Welcome back to another episode of Holy Banter. I'm Christina Steele.
And I'm Andrea Simpson. We are here today with Clinton Bohm, who is a good friend actually of 20 years.
Did you know each other from high school?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
We didn't meet till Purdue.
Okay.
He's been a parishioner here officially for 17 years and husband and father of 5 boys.
It's loud.
God bless you. I have 2, and that was a lot.
It's wonderful, but it's loud, it's busy, and the logistics of adulting can be daunting sometimes, but we make it work.
That's why you're so good at middle school youth group.
Thank you. I don't know how good I am, but I appreciate that.
Why the heavy sigh there? Why the heavy sigh? No, it was funny actually. So Clinton and I met at Purdue.
Yep.
And we were in liberal arts student council together and we did BGR.
Boiler Gold Rush.
Yes, Boiler Gold Rush. It's freshman orientation.
Oh, okay.
So we met there, but then I moved. So we really didn't have contact after that. And then lo and behold, I start working this job and Christina's like, here's your volunteer, Clinton Bohm. I was like, oh, I know him. Great.
I know. There were hugs. It was great. It was wonderful. What's funny, though, is that Andrea is one of multiple folks at Purdue that I got to know and I became friends with. I had this nice friend group from classes and from the fraternity and sorority circles and other places. They all came from Zionsville.
Oh.
And so here I was, this farm kid from Lucerne, Indiana, right in the middle of north central Indiana. So surrounded by cornfields, right?
Yeah.
So I go to Purdue, obviously, but to study political science, not obviously. So that's where we met in the School of Liberal Arts. And so I get all these Zionsville friends. And then between junior and senior year, Ann and I meet at an internship.
Oh.
Which is funny because to get the internship, I myself interviewed, got turned down, and was handed over to another department who then accepted me without an interview. So I was like, oh, hey, I have a job. Yay. And then Ann shows up. And we become friends, and then she tells me, yeah, I almost didn't get this job. Well, what happened? I didn't apply, but my dad just kept yelling at me for like weeks, and so I finally applied at the last moment, and then they let me in.
Is that the one you didn't get?
It was one that I didn't get. So I don't know what happened there.
There's no nepotism in government.
Not at all. None at all. But because of that, because of those little fun, unique things, we met. We were just friends for a little bit. We started dating, and the rest is now church history.
Ann and I have known each other forever. We both grew up in Zionsville and going to St. Alphonsus. So I knew them separately.
Right.
And now together.
That's
so when
amazing.
I brought Ann to Purdue for the first time to like meet my friends.
She's I know all these people.
Exactly. I thought I was going to have to do a lot of introductions. And with some of the fraternity guys, yes. But when I started introducing to the other friends, they're like, oh, it's Annie today. What? Oh, wait. Oh, that's right. They're from Zionsville, too. So you all in Zionsville know each other. And so, yeah, I had already prepped all of her friends, so I didn't have to clear any hurdles.
Yeah, you were meant to be here.
Exactly. Always.
Right? You grew up in Lucerne, a small town, really rural.
Were your parents farmers?
No. My mom worked for one of the local banks. My dad worked for the cement factory, the plant there, and did not go to church. So I did not go to church. My dad had an experience where his great-grandmother was a parishioner at a Catholic parish there in Logansport. She would take some of the kids, some of the grandkids, to church. My dad hated it. He swore off religion. I grew up with him saying very often he didn't believe in organized religion, didn't want to do it, so we didn't do that. My aunt went to the Catholic church there. So they were Catholic and still are, but they are the only ones in my family that still are part of the faith. Everyone else is just not a part of that, including both my mom and dad. So I grew up not practicing, not going to church, nothing like that. The only experience I had was when I was a junior in high school. A friend of mine was like, hey, you need to go to church. You need to know Jesus. I'm like,
okay,
sure. Why not? So I did, and they went to one of your classic Protestant church. I went there, and for a couple Sundays over a couple years, heard some talks, heard scripture. They let me into a Bible study. and I read a passage, and I had an interpretation that was a lot more practical, a lot less theological. And I remember distinctly them saying, "Oh, well, that's nice. Won't you pray on that?" At the time, I was like, "Oh, hey, I had a great insight." Now looking back, I'm like,
Oh, bless his
"Oh,
heart.
yeah." They were like, "Oh, bless his heart. He don't know yet." And then so I was like enjoying it a little bit, and then I had this one moment that was a little odd for me. We had gotten through some scripture readings, and the pastor was giving his sermon, right? And then his wife brings up this King's Hawaiian roll.
I do love a good King's Hawaiian roll.
I mean, they're so good.
So an actual roll.
Like those big
Yeah.
King's Hawaiian loaves, right?
Yeah.
The big ones that sit in like a fake pie tin, right?
Mhm.
So she brings it up to him, and I'm like, what is happening? Now, again, it's Sunday morning. I'm a little
Yeah.
sleepy because I'm a teenager that needs 15 hours
Sure.
of sleep or whatever the number is.
And Jesus.
Well, I did need Jesus.
He didn't know that yet.
That's true. I didn't quite know that yet. So I'm sitting there, and he says, and this is my favorite part about being a pastor, is when you're the pastor, you get to pick the bread. And I love King's Hawaiian rolls. So let us do this in memory of him.
Oh.
And then splits it up and then hands it. And then everyone just hands the half loaf of King's Hawaiian around.
And
And it
takes a
just
piece.
tearing pieces off. Now, I have no idea why this is happening.
Sure.
But I love me some King's Hawaiian roll. So I get a
Amen.
nice big piece. And it was delicious. So
I'm surprised we didn't lose you there.
Oh, no, it helps because he likes food. He's a teenage boy.
yeah.
No, I mean lose you as you didn't come to the Catholic Church because you realized it
Oh,
was
yeah,
not a
there's no
King's
King's Hawaiian roll.
Well, that was the thing is I ate the King's Hawaiian roll and I'm sitting there and even in the darkness that I was sitting in, I had at least an idea that there should have been more to that
Yeah.
and that the stuff that I get from the store to put, the dip in, the artichoke dip, like
That's not sacred.
that's not sacred, right? Exactly. Like there should be more to this. There should be something deeper to this. So I remember the first time I told that story, I had done chirp here, and I was giving my little witness as the lay director for the chirp group when we were putting it on for the next group. And I always chuckle because I'm telling the story. I go, well, they were a Protestant bunch, right? They just tore the bread open.
Yeah.
And so that was something where. As I look back and I think about where I've come to, that was one of those moments I didn't realize it at the time,
Yeah.
but I knew that the Eucharist is something.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know what I was thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a place there,
Mm-hmm.
and it took me many years to get to filling it.
Kind of an intuition.
Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting.
So you're a convert to the Catholic faith. What kind of led you to that point?
That's where it was kind of stumbling and fumbling through.
Yeah.
God works in everyone's life. The Holy Spirit is
Oh, yeah.
active everywhere, not just in the Catholic Church, but everywhere. As I look back, like that moment was you need to come closer, but this isn't the right place.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were other moments during college where didn't go to church, right? I did the classic college thing at Purdue.
Mhm.
I'm very thankful for my Purdue experience. It put some good foundations in certain places, but it didn't fulfill everything. So I go to a church here, church there, all of them Protestant. One of them was an evening service. They had smoke. They had laser light shows.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wasn't I just at a party last night like this? This doesn't seem right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was always like fumbling around.
Mm.
But then, it got to a situation where I wanted to do an internship. That's what led me to applying for the summer internship that I didn't get and got passed off on. So then I met Anne, right? So then once I meet her, I'm like, all right, this is the one. And she told me that she thinks I'm the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, we'll see if this goes. We'll see if like what we're feeling now is going to be the same thing. But to do that, I need to make sure that I understand the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
One, I need to know what I'm getting into. And two, I need them to like me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're church people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go to their church on Sunday. I've done this before. I can do this, right? And they're like, 8 a.m. Like, what time? 8
When
p.m.?
did the laser light show begin?
8 a.m.?
Yeah, laser light show 8 a.m. doesn't sound good.
That's an 8
Right.
p.m. mass.
Right. I'm like, okay, 8 a.m. Sunday morning. I'll be there. Zionsville? Sure. What's the address? You don't know the address? I'll find it. All right.
The only one.
Right. So then I come here to 8 a.m. mass with them, and they sit like in the first couple of rows.
Oh, yeah.
And so I come in, I sit down. I have not been to a Catholic service before at this point. So I sit down and I'm like, we're standing, we're sitting, reading. Oh no, singing, not singing. I'll mouth the words. It's fine. And we're listening. Like, there's a lot of readings here. This Bible thing has a lot to it. And then, Father O'Keefe gets up and he gives a homily. And I'm like, oh man, that's like the 4th time he said that. I think he wants me to remember this phrase. I know how college lectures work. And then they go out for communion, and I'm like, "What am I supposed to do here?" And shows me the sign, put cross your arms over your chest. And I go up and I get a blessing. I sit down. I'm like, "This was intense." And so then I start going almost every Sunday.
Wow.
Over the summer.
Up at here.
Well, here. And then when summer's over, we go our separate ways. She goes to Hillsdale in Michigan. I go to West Lafayette. We're 4.5 hours away. And so we're on our phones a lot, keeping in touch, secretly visiting each other. So Tom and Deb, if you're listening, sorry for all the miles that
We
you
will
traveled.
cut that out.
And so we're seeing each other, and I'm thinking this is going someplace. I, of course, am nervous because I don't want her to say no. It's senior year.
Yeah.
I've got the ring, and I see the parents, and I take them out to Friendly, have some great food, have some conversations where I am just torn up inside because I am super nervous because I know what I'm going to do. They are awkward, but getting through it because they know what I'm going to do and they're waiting for me to do it.
Yeah.
And I chicken out. I don't do it.
Oh no!
We get through the meal. We're in the car driving from the Friendly to Colony Woods, which is not a long drive, but it felt like forever.
Solid 5 minutes.
I know. Time was running out. The clock was going down, and I was behind on the scoreboard. I had to figure this out. So
and let's just preface this with the Easter days are literally the sweetest people on the entire planet.
Amazing folks.
Not scary at all.
But I mean,
they're a little intimidating
21
when you marry their daughter.
21 years old.
Yeah, I was 20, 22 at the time. And I'm asking for their daughter.
Yeah.
It's their only daughter.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yes, it was intimidating. They're wonderful, sweet people, but it was intimidating. And so finally, I just blurted it out in the back seat. I want to marry your daughter.
They're like, what?
They're like, you could look us in the eye for this?
I'm trying to look in their eyes through the rearview mirror as I'm sitting in the back seat when they're both in the front. It's not going well.
Oh, no.
So then they're like, oh, well, we know. Let's talk about it. They remind me of a couple of things because at this point I'm not Catholic. Like I'm going to masses with them.
So you were still going to mass?
I was still going to mass with them, getting the blessing, but I'm not Catholic. I'm not in the conversion process. I'm not baptized. I'm still the rural kid that doesn't have Jesus yet. And so they're like, you got to get baptized. We're going to at least.
Oh, is that what they said?
Oh yeah. They're like, you're going to make sure your soul is saved. 1, 2, you may not be Catholic, but we are. She is. This is it. No divorce, no walking away. That's teaching. That's what we believe. That's what you're going to do.
Wow.
And 3, they just remind me of the practical part of the situation.
Yeah.
Anne's brother has Fragile X. It's a genetic condition. She's a carrier. And so when we have kids, there's a chance that we would have special needs kids.
Right. Is that like a 50-50 chance?
When it's a boy, it's actually a much higher percentage.
Wow.
What we were quoted 10 years ago was if you have a boy, it's like a 90% chance that boy will have Fragile X.
Wow.
So with us having 5 kids and 2 of them having Fragile X and 3 of them being neurotypical, you could say we beat the odds.
Right.
But all of our children are just wonderful blessings. So they in the back of the car, they tell me these 3 things. And I, of course, am like, absolutely. Yes, I will do this. And they're like, okay, you can ask her. This is Christmas time, right? This is December, December before we get engaged. And so what we do then is I wait for 2 more months before I ask her. I wait.
Valentine's Day.
So it was right before Valentine's Day. I went to Hillsdale as her guest to their sorority's Valentine's crush
Mhm.
dance. And so I get there and I give the ring to one of her sorority sisters. And apparently that ring made it through the entire 80 sister household before we got to the event where they snuck it to me so that I could propose to her in front of everyone during their dance. As I like to tell it, she never said yes. When I got down on a knee with a ring and proposed to her, she lost her voice. She was crying. She
Aw.
was jumping up and down. She was nodding her head yes, but she never said yes. But then she put on the ring, so I knew it was okay.
So, what was faith to you at this point? Was it just like, I'm going to check this box so I can marry this girl? Or,
That's
yeah,
right.
pretty much. Okay.
Right. Because then the jokes that we make after that was after she said yes, we both graduated on the same day in different colleges. And then, once I got settled into Indianapolis, I got an apartment for my job. I started with the General Assembly like that, that May. So it was very quick that I started working. We got together to talk about like, what's this look like? And we decided to get married June of the following year. So we had a year and a half engagement before we got married. And they're like, "Well, okay, you gotta get baptized. We don't care if you go down by the river and, Pastor Bob dunks you, just make sure that you get baptized." Like,
Wow.
that was the requirement.
So, they didn't care if you were Catholic.
No,
Okay.
my options were open. I thought about it. Say that I prayed about it, but not in the way that I pray today because I was in a different place. But if I'm gonna do this, if we're gonna get married in the Catholic Church, if we're gonna raise all the kids there and they're gonna be Catholic, then what would I be doing to not be a part of it? I I remember when I was growing up, like when my parents weren't on the same page,
Yeah.
things didn't go well, right? And I mean that ended with them getting divorced eventually. So, yeah, I need to be on the same page here. So, let's say yes. I start meeting with Father Raymond Akirwe, who's leading RCIA at the time, and with Kimberly Overmeyer, who's overseeing that part of the ministry. And I'm like, all right, I'll become Catholic. Let's see what this is. Now, again, your initial question was, how did your faith journey start? Mine started because I wanted to get married to Anne and that was my biggest goal, and this was kind of a check the box
Sure.
thing with a little bit of curiosity about what this means. What is this
Mhm.
Jesus? Who is this Trinity? Those types of things. But it
Mhm.
wasn't I had some moment, some conversion early that I was like, I'm gonna dive right into this. My story is one of I make choices, God laughs, he corrects me a little bit, sometimes with a whisper, sometimes with a 2x4, and then I get to places where I think he wants me to go.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You get through that process. How did your faith or your curiosity
Mhm.
change through that RCA process?
It was interesting because in the beginning, I did treat it like it was just some other college class, just checking a box. I was learning the things, right? I was like, okay, this is interesting. Oh, that's an interesting fact. I got assigned to go campaign. So I was actually down in New Albany for a month and a half. I was in Greencastle for a month and a half during this time up until November when that election was over in 2008. And then I came back.
Uh-huh.
Christmas happened, Advent, all those things. I didn't know what Advent was. And then we get to Lent, and I'm like, "Oh, crud. This is Lent." Like, I now know that there's a certain window of time where this is gonna be done. I've learned these things, but I haven't necessarily accepted these things. But then we got to the first scrutiny, and I remember waking up and it was at an 8 a.m. mass. I stood up in front of the congregation. They went through, Father O'Keefe went through the rite,
Mhm.
as we talked about just this past, Holy Week, like, there's a small exorcism that's in
Mhm.
there, and I did feel different,
Mm.
and I felt myself like, because I realized it was there, I'm like, "Okay, I have to start saying yes to these things. I have to be open to these things, and it's no longer, weighing my options. It's I'm gonna do this or I'm not,
Mhm.
and I want to do this." That's where it started to change a little bit, and I felt during Lent things get deeper, things get heavier, but in a positive way. I was more excited about it. To the point when we got to Easter Vigil, I was nervous in the morning. I don't even remember going through a walkthrough, or maybe I
Mhm.
missed it. I can't tell, but if someone was there, they could tell me.
Mhm.
So we were standing outside and they were doing stoking the fire, and I remember Father O'Keefe being like his full vestments, stoking the fire, getting the candle lit, and I was standing there in my little brown robe
Yep.
wearing swimming trunks and a t-shirt underneath because I was going into the font,
He
and
didn't heat it then either. We heat ours now.
Oh,
So you
man.
got the cold
oh yeah,
water.
it was
He
chilly.
wanted the baptized to really die to Christ and freeze our butts off.
Well, and so
Shock 'em
I
into
like to
it.
yeah.
warm the water. Anyway, go ahead.
How sweet
No,
are you?
that's so nice of you. Yeah, it was cold.
Yeah.
It was cold outside too, so it didn't really change much. But yeah, I came in and they called my name and I went down into the font. Father Keith took the picture and just poured it right on my head 3 times.
Mhm.
That 3rd time, like, I said amen the loudest I've ever done.
Aw,
It was wonderful. My parents were there. My
that's
brother was
nice.
there.
Mhm.
I was surprised because when I asked them, I thought they'd be, a little hesitant.
Yeah.
And they said yes right away.
Wow.
I'm like, "All right, awesome." So yeah, it was a moving experience. I felt on fire at that point in time. I tried to take that over the next year to keep it going, and I mean, I didn't do a good job of that, but, things got better.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
So you said your parents came to, your initiation into the church.
Mhm.
What was that like with, like, your dad, who was so against it from the beginning?
It had been interesting because I've been telling him about this for a while leading up to it, and he knew that I was gonna come into the church. He knew I was gonna be a part of this. He knew that, we were gonna get married in the church. It was gonna be full out ceremony, and he had softened to it, and
Mm,
that had been good. I will say, when I was in elementary school, he was a little firmer, a little harsher. By the time my brother got out of high school, he had mellowed a little bit.
mhm,
And, by that point in time, he had been accepting of it. And
that's great.
what's great to say is like, even though my parents are divorced, and even though neither one of them are real big into faith right now, they are very encouraging of what we do, what we've done with the kids. They're going to come in um, for Ryan's confirmation, and that's a big support. So, yeah, it was different, but I was glad to see it be different.
Mhm. So you guys get married after that then?
2 months later.
What does that look like as a newly confirmed Catholic? You're in the faith, you're married. How does your faith play out in your marriage at that point?
That is a great question because it actually had a big change.
Really?
When we were talking about what marriage would look like pre-initiation, it was we're gonna wait 5 years, or we're going to
To have
plan our
kids, you mean?
family. Yeah, we're gonna
Okay.
wait 5 years to have kids. We're gonna make sure we get our careers set up. We're gonna make sure that we have
Mm,
control over our lives.
mhm,
Then I get initiated and the fire comes on. I realize that I have no control over everything.
mm,
And I start talking, and so we change some of our practices leading up to the wedding. Then when we get married, we come
mm,
to an agreement that we're gonna do NFP. We're gonna be open to kids whenever it happens,
NFP is what?
natural family planning.
Okay.
mhm,
So we were gonna do that, and we'll see where kids come. And that decision led us to have Ryan, just 2 months after our 1-year wedding anniversary.
Oh, wow.
And then 18 months after that, we had Thomas.
Wow.
So we were wide open to kids,
Mhm,
and we were trying to put some of those faith pieces first. I thought I would get involved in political stuff right away.
mm,
I didn't until after Ryan was born because during those first 2 years, Ann gets on the parish council. She does her own chirp. I then do chirp. Like those first couple of years, we were getting into it. But then once we had both kids, we kind of slowed that down. I got involved on the political scene in addition to my regular work. And so that's where I got distracted. Got distracted with work, got distracted with elected office, let myself be busy
Mhm.
with the 2 kids. And I then weren't as open to children for a couple of years after our first 2 kids because we felt like we were overly busy. Then we had our own set of troubles and drifting away. And then we had a breakthrough moment after she turned 30. That really was it was a tough time,
mm,
going through those things, but we laid it all out on the table, and we said yes to each other.
Mhm.
We said
mhm,
yes to keeping God in the middle of our relationship, and we said yes to staying together.
mhm.
I know that, even some friends of ours and my parents, like, they didn't,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we did.
Marriage is
Mhm,
not easy, especially when kids come on the scene.
No.
You
mhm.
have to kinda fight for it more.
And that's exactly it. You have to put in the work. You have to
Mhm.
fight for it. You have to be present. You have to say yes. Love is an
Mhm.
action.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I think that's something that I didn't learn until I was 30.
Mhm.
Love is an action. It's not a passive thing. It's not a feeling.
Mhm.
Um, it's a choice
Mhm.
and it's a practice.
Mhm.
And when we started doing that and we grew closer, um, we weren't done suffering because that's when we got pregnant.
Mhm.
Mhm.
We were excited. We were open to kids again. We
Mm.
thought things were gonna be great. Um, and then Thanksgiving of that year, we realized that things weren't gonna be so good. We knew we were pregnant at the time, but it was only week 10, so we
Mm.
were cautious. So they did some MRIs, they could hear the heartbeats, everything was fine. 2 weeks later at Thanksgiving, everything was not fine,
Mm.
and we went to the hospital. The baby's heartbeat was no longer there,
Aw.
Mm.
and so, we had a miscarriage.
Mm.
We lost the baby before the first trimester was over, and that was really tough,
Yeah.
especially after we had, walked for a couple of years through trying to heal ourselves, trying to work with God to make sure that we could have the marriage that we needed to have.
Right.
That suffering was painful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, and so that hit us over that Christmas season.
Mm.
Advent was tough that year. That coming February, we decided to start trying again,
Mm.
and we did. We ended up having James later that year, in 2016. So James, our third child, we were very excited. He was our rainbow baby because he
Mm.
was the one that came after the miscarriage.
Mhm.
I have not
And
heard that
yeah,
term.
Yes, you've never heard
Uh-uh.
rainbow
yeah,
That's
baby?
cute.
Yeah.
yeah. So it was something that, as Father Travis likes to talk about, redemptive suffering, right?
Mhm.
Right.
It showed us that we could do it. It showed us that we were putting our faith in the right place and that God had us in the palm of his hand.
Mhm.
And James was our reward for that.
I think it's awesome that you guys had gotten to that point to strengthen yourself and get closer together before you had that suffering. Because I know at times when something bad happens,
Mhm.
that can jar you further away from God, and I think it's amazing that you all were able to still stay together and choose to get through that together.
God plays a big role in our lives, and I didn't realize how big it was until recent years, and that He had been present and working and providing and helping us. Just like any other family, we had suffered through financial stress and difficulty. We were having kids, trying to have a mortgage, not having high paying jobs. Um, we'd had job loss. So there had been some tough points along the way that we had managed through. I thought it was because I was smart. I realize now it's no, God gave me talents, and then there were things that he did along the way that sparked a thought that helped us
Mm.
out.
Yeah.
That was his work, not me. So I think that's something that he's always been there helping us, and that's what we started to realize. And with the miscarriage, that's where it finally opened our eyes on what was going on, who was helping us, and how we needed to be together, and that helped.
And your third son has Fragile X.
Yes, James was our first special needs child.
And how quickly do you find that out?
Signs can be determined within the first 8 months
Okay.
because there are certain developmental
Mhm.
milestones
Milestones.
that you hit, and he didn't hit them. It was about 8 months after he was born is where we started to realize that he was, a Fragile X baby, and, just a little bit after that, we got pregnant again.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, Matthias came a little bit after him.
'Cause you
Um
weren't busy enough.
Right,
So
right.
what's that look like? Because I have a son with autism. What's out there to help
Mm.
kids with Fragile X?
There's a Fragile X clinic in Cincinnati Children's Hospital.
Mm.
And so we go there, we talk to them about things we can
Okay.
do. Before going to school, it was at home. You're trying to build communication.
Mhm.
Mm.
James does not talk in full sentences.
Mhm.
Mm.
So you have to gather information from him. He also will utilize quotes
Oh.
from things.
Mhm.
So you have to know what he's watching,
Mhm.
what he's listening to, so that you can understand the context
Mhm.
in which that phrase is used in that
Mhm.
show. So when he uses it to you, you're like, "Ah, gotcha. Okay."
Yeah.
Because if you don't,
You have no idea what
you
he's
have no
saying.
idea what he's saying.
It's like a language.
Uh-huh. You learn a new language. It's
Mhm.
still English, but it's a new language.
Mhm.
Regulation is something they're not good at.
Mm.
So when he gets upset,
Yeah.
he gets upset. We have to work through that.
Yeah.
We have to work through that. Transitions, going from place to
Mhm.
place, going from thing to thing, not
Mhm.
good. Have to work through that. New things, surprises,
Mhm.
not good. Mundane routine is good.
It sounds
Mhm.
very similar to autism. I mean, that sounds a lot like my son's
Yes,
daily life.
there's a lot of similarities
Yeah.
to autism, and Fragile X is the only condition in which you can have Fragile X and then autism can develop out of it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Church is tough.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Church was tough for a while, then church got better.
Mhm.
Mm.
He would hold the door. There was a couple years ago where he was the door guy,
Mhm.
and
Oh.
he loved it, and so 8 a.m. mass, he would hold the door and everyone would come in, and then we
Mhm.
would come in, but he would stay in the narthex for church.
Mhm.
Okay.
Then we got to a point where he didn't wanna hold the door anymore, but he wanted to sit in the cry room.
Mm.
Okay, alright, this
Mhm.
is good. Then he got to a point where he didn't wanna sit in the cry room, now he was a big boy, he wanted to sit outside the cry room. Then we got to a point where he was like, "No, we are going to mass," because he wanted to be there, and so then we were sitting in the front pews
Wow.
for a
Mm.
while. And I think this is where it happened, but there was a mass where Ryan was serving with the knights. I was doing I had become now at that point, because it's just been a couple months ago or a year ago, I had started doing, extraordinary minister of Holy
Mhm.
Communion. So I went up to serve.
Oh.
The knights were doing incense. There's a lot that happened at this one 8 o'clock mass, and James did not take well to it.
Oh.
Mm.
And then there was like 2 weeks in a row where he didn't take well to it. So now he doesn't even want to go to the church.
Yeah.
Oh.
So for the last 9 months for us, it's a struggle just to get him to the church
Yeah.
because he develops at a different pace
Right.
than
Mm.
everyone else.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to get to is trying to keep him in the liturgy. We may have to take a break, we'll see, because it's been getting a little rough.
Right.
But to continue to get
Yeah.
him there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, we use for a long time we would go to Wednesday
Mhm.
evening mass, and we call it short church because
Yeah.
that's what James called it. And he was always happy going to short church, just not long church.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when then we would go, it would be great because it would give the older boys the ability to see what church is like and participate. We
Yeah.
brought the gifts up a lot. Apparently, the folks at that time with Wednesday mass liked us because we had the young kids, right? We were like
Aw.
the
Yeah.
youngest people there.
Sure.
Mhm.
And so we brought the gifts up, and he showed Father O'Keefe his Ninja Turtle underwear because he was so proud of him.
Oh.
Oh.
Right, it sounds cute, except when you're the
When
parent.
you're the one
Yeah, yeah,
keeping
yeah,
the
I
Ninja
know, I
Turtle
get
underwear in
it.
the pants.
Right, you're standing in what's now the Adoration
Yeah, yeah.
Chapel, and you've got your kid here that's just handed the priest
The gifts.
the gifts. The congregation is behind you, and then your kid pulls his pants forward and says, "Look at my Ninja Turtle underwear," so that everyone in the room can hear. At that moment, you're not laughing.
Well, you don't know how
No.
Father O'Keefe's gonna react.
He smiled and chuckled, and he came up to us afterwards and thanked us for being at the mass, because I think
Aw.
he realized, like, I was mortified.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
that's not easy. I heard this actually last night. Someone was saying that, I hope God has a sense of humor because he gave us one, right?
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
So
I'm sure he
he
does.
definitely has
Yeah.
one, but
COVID was a big turning point for you.
It was, it was. So all these stories, they're happening, before COVID. We're going to mass every Sunday. For one reason or another, we may not be the most into mass, but we're there.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
there. Anne had kind of been doing RE. I was considering myself too busy
Sure.
to do anything with the church, right? So, but we're showing up on Sundays. We're doing some Wednesday masses. I feel like we're checking the boxes. But that was my downfall, is looking at our faith as checking the boxes.
Mm.
At this point in time, I'm the director of finance for the Attorney General's office. I am the new president of the Whitestown Town Council, and I'm head of the family.
Jeez.
And it's, March of 2020. It was late March that year. So we're coming up on Holy Week. Like, all right, we're getting ready to get to Easter. I actually
Mhm.
still enjoyed Easter at this point in time because I still remember, like, hey, vigils when I came into the church. And I always enjoy my church birthday, as
Mhm.
Father Travis talked about it. And I start seeing these news stories about someone in Boston has this COVID thing. All right, well, whatever. I don't care.
Mhm.
And then like a week later, Governor Holcomb sends out a thing like, hey, we have our first COVID case. Okay. I don't understand. Why is this COVID-19 such a big deal? And then it starts getting bigger, and I start getting some heads ups from some people that are inside the Holcomb administration, like they're going to shut everything down. Go to the grocery store right now. They're going to shut everything down. And so I leave work. I go to the grocery store. I'm at the Kroger in Lebanon
Mhm.
trying to get
Toilet
toilet
paper.
paper and milk and bread
And eggs.
and eggs. And I only found some of those things. So
Hopefully toilet paper.
actually we didn't find that
Oh,
one.
no.
But I got eggs, milk, bread, and then some meats. I'm like prepper here. Like I'm thinking, I'm harkening back to, okay, there's a blizzard coming.
Yeah.
It's going to be a couple of days. Like I got to
Right.
get packed down, and everything shuts down. The world stops. But it took a turn that I didn't expect because then the churches start closing. I wasn't
Mhm.
expecting that.
Mm.
Like I was like, okay, grocery stores will be limited. They'll shut down some government buildings. It'll be fine. No, everything shut down. Everything got locked down. 2 weeks to bend the curve. And that 2 weeks became more weeks. Those more weeks became months. And it was a long time. Having to watch Easter services on a TV, having my living room turn into our church, our sanctuary, not having an altar, and realizing how empty it felt to not have the body of Christ, to not have the Eucharist, weeks and weeks without the Eucharist. That's what hit me. That's where I was like, this is it. Like this means so much to me. And I realized that it always had, and I just didn't understand it. And it took having it go away
Mm.
for me to understand the gravity and the depth of it. And I was yearning for it to come back. That's what really turned it around for me was the loss, the emptiness that
Mhm.
I felt because we didn't have the Eucharist for so long. And from that point in time, I was like, never again am I going to let myself be disconnected. I'm not going to be lukewarm. I heard the word lukewarm in my head over and over,
Mm.
word or words, whatever it is, over and over in my head because that's how I felt. I
Mhm.
felt like I had been spit out.
Well, and I remember that summer 2021's when you signed up to help with middle school.
That's exactly right. Because that's where I was like, God, how do I need to get involved? I need to do more than just show up on Sundays. When I do show up, I need to be present. If you're that important to me, how can I serve you? And that's where I signed up. Paul Cifuentes.
Mhm.
Paul Cifuentes has had a lot of impact on my life, and he's
Mhm.
always seems to be the one that God speaks through when I need to be called to do something very different.
Mhm.
He
Yeah, because
said,
middle school is not lukewarm.
no, it's not.
It's not for the faint of heart.
That's why I had that sigh earlier because it is not for the faint of heart. Paul was like, they need more male mentorship, more male leaders. I'm like, well, I can qualify for the male part, but I don't know about the leader part, but sure, I'll sign up. So Kevin Foley and I signed up to do a group that
Mhm.
year. And we signed up with you.
Mhm.
And you assigned me to some middle schoolers. Thankfully, I had my son Ryan with that 6th grade group.
Mhm.
But that was an interesting year with that group. And we got through that. And I realized it was very tough for me to teach kids and to mentor kids. 5th and 6th grade was about the Bible stories at that time.
Mhm.
And so we're trying to talk about these stories, and I'm like, crud, I don't know these that well. So I started reading on the specific stories and trying to get to know them better. Then when Thomas was a 5th grader, um, when he was a 5th grader, Ryan went to 7th and 8th grade, and it's like, okay, 7th and 8th grade is about like the parts of the faith.
Mhm.
5th and 6th grade is about the Bible stories. I need to get better at those. So why don't I go with Thomas in 5th grade? Let Ryan go and Mr.
Mhm.
Craftness can take care of him, which has been great.
Mhm.
And I'll take care of Thomas in 5th grade. And then I started reading the Bible. I did the Father Mike Schmidt Bible in a year.
Okay.
I started doing that, and I just drilled through that like as fast as I could, trying to learn everything, trying to hear everything. So for the next couple of years, it was doing Bible in a year. It was doing catechism in a
That's
year.
cool.
It was picking up these different places to learn more and more about the word and to dive into it. And so saying yes to middle school was tough, and it tried me because it showed me I didn't know things. And I've always been someone that feels like I know some stuff. I put myself in positions where I know things, and I was in a position where I didn't know anything. And so I had to learn more, and I had to be open to it, and I had to gain more of that. And that just sparked going deeper and deeper.
That's
You know,
cool.
that's where I asked God, what do I do next? And he gave me a very difficult situation.
Mm.
teaching something I didn't know to people that didn't want to necessarily learn it
That's exactly right.
and who are in this weird phase between being a fun
Mhm.
small child and a teenager that doesn't
Yep.
talk to where they're giving you attitude and saying things.
Mhm.
So it was a difficult environment. It's not for the faint of heart,
Mm-mm.
but that was what he gave me, and I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." Like, previously, I'd be like, "No, I need to have something that's more to my advantage, use my strengths, stuff like that." And this time, I'm like, "No, he's gonna take care of me, he's gonna see me through, I'm gonna say yes." And that has sparked a whole new set of things, not just doing for the church, but doing for myself, doing for my family.
That's
You
cool.
know, I picked up liturgy of the hours now. As I discern what my next yes is, I was encouraged to do ministry within the liturgy. So now I'm an extraordinary minister of Holy Communion. I really enjoy when I get to do the chalice, so I'm glad that's come back. That's actually a fun one to do for me. And then I also do the sacristan.
Mhm.
Um, that's a little bit challenging because it doesn't matter how many times I've set up a mass, I still feel like, what am I going to forget? Because I don't want to be the reason this is
Oh, yeah.
invalidated, right? So it's making sure everything gets set up and all the people are there and the logistics, the trains running on time. It's kind of my jam. I said yes to a lot more things.
And you help out with that main as you?
Yes, yes. During Lent last year, not this most recent one, but the one
Mhm.
before that, I saw that thing pop up and I'm like, that's early. Should I really do that? And I was like on the verge of saying yes to doing it. And then Grafnitz was like, yeah, you're going to do this, right? Yeah, Brian, I'll do it. I'll do it. Yeah, I'll show up. And then a couple other folks were like, hey, there's this thing coming up. You should do this. I'm like, I already said yes. I already said yes to Brian. So then I started going to that limited series,
Mhm.
and it was great. I really enjoyed it. It challenged me. It also showed me that others are trying to find their way. Um, And so then I did that over the Lent period, the Easter period, kept doing it over the summers. But during the summer, so last summer when we were doing it, they had some needs
Mhm.
to add to the core team, and they're like, "You want to do some stuff?" I'm like, "I'm down to do some stuff. That's fine. That's fine." So yeah, did that, and it was great.
Yeah.
And so I joined the core team, became a small group leader. I was very nervous to be a small group leader.
Mm.
I got more nervous fall of last year because when I sat down at my table, um, Father Travis was one of the people at my table.
Oh.
So
Oh,
so here we are.
shoot.
I've only been going to this thing for a little bit,
Yeah.
and now I am a small group leader. And doing middle school is one thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. What's more intimidating? A small group of 13 and
But I
14-year-old
say
boys
I don't think they're
or
that different, though.
Yeah.
Adults can be just as ornery as middle schoolers.
Well, they can be, and sometimes they can be more quiet. Sometimes they
Mhm.
can talk a little too much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so it's similar but different.
Mhm.
So I was a little intimidated. Then Father Travis sits down at my table, and I'm like, "Oh man, I really hope I don't say anything wrong theologically because I need to
He'll
get
just
this
let you
right."
know. He'll let you know.
I know, but I didn't want to be let known.
Yeah.
But it went well. He gave me a very positive comment afterwards that
That's good.
Yeah.
I've still keep to my heart this day,
Oh.
almost a year later. So yeah, that's been great. And working the small groups, doing it for both the semesters, waking up every Tuesday morning at 4:30 in the morning
Oh.
Mm.
so that I can get up, I can get ready, I can still get morning prayer in, and then I can get here and set up so that we're ready by 5:45 when a couple of people show up, and then more people show up till 6:15 we get started.
Mm. What would you say to someone who is busy, they're going to mass on Sunday,
Mhm.
but they're not really sure what to say yes to? Like what or if they can say yes, what would you say to that person? Especially because we would love some more male mentors in middle school next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think one thing is they need to understand that yes isn't comfortable. They need to understand that it may be uncomfortable in the beginning, but God will get you through it. And the second part is you need to go someplace where they need help. If you go to some place where they already have help, you're going to feel like you're not doing anything, and that's just going to discourage you more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's okay to say yes. I've been busy, but when you say yes to serving the communion, to serving the parish, to serving Jesus, God clears your calendar in a good
Mhm.
way.
Mhm.
He makes sure you have the time.
Yeah. And it's amazing for me to sit here with you now to understand where you felt in 2021 and then to have us meet back up in
I
2023
know, yeah.
and Christina being like, "Oh, Clinton knows. He can lead it. He can teach it, he knows
Yeah,
all
you
that."
always seemed like you had everything under
Yeah,
control when
you
I would
really
check in
fooled
on
us,
you.
didn't you?
It's like, "His table's so quiet."
Yeah. Okay, so this is a random question, but what is James watching now that you have to watch so you can talk to him?
There is some show on YouTube.
Of course, it's YouTube.
Right. They're like building things, but
So I feel like you're playing, like, Jeopardy all day
all day,
with him,
all day.
which excites me a little bit, but I'm sure
Yeah.
it just wears you down.
That's the thing is that it does if you
Mm.
let it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm trying to work better and grow in I'm not on my own.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like that's the hard part is when you get to the ordinary mundane things, sometimes you forget that God's right there with you through those
Mm.
too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's where, with James and trying to decode his communication with Andrew, who still doesn't talk yet, our fifth child who also has Fragile X,
Right.
trying to communicate and understand them, you can get lost in trying to do it on your own and feeling overwhelmed by that. But trusting in God and trying to listen to the still small voice that's telling you what's going on, that can be a great benefit.
Mhm.
And so sometimes it's as simple as, yeah, he wants a cookie and I can't give him a cookie. So I got to change his mind on something else. Right.
Mhm.
Because he's still a kid.
Mm.
He still wants the same thing kids want.
Right.
They want to do their own thing. They want to play their own games. They don't
Mhm.
want to go certain places.
And
Like
if you're my kid, you don't wanna wear socks to kindergarten and throw a huge fit about it.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, we get that. Sometimes it's, hey, let's put this shirt on. I don't want to wear that
Mhm.
shirt.
Mhm.
It's your favorite shirt. I want to wear a different shirt. All right, wear a different shirt.
Yeah.
Pack the good shirt because then when we get to church, I need my good shirt. Oh, here's your good shirt. Got you covered.
So, what's it like having now 2 sons with special needs
Mhm.
and walking through it a second time, like, from the beginning?
All kids are different
Mhm.
even when they're similar.
Mhm.
And so going through it the second time, if you will, it's completely different
Mm.
because Andrew is 5.5 years old
Right?
and he doesn't talk.
Mm.
By this point in time, James was talking
Okay.
and we knew some things. We could figure some things out. Um, and so that's where it's a whole new set of challenges, even if it's the same set of challenges.
Mm.
And Andrew goes to a different school than what James did. Andrew was put into a different program than what James did because we knew about some of our resources through preschool.
Mm.
So James went to a preschool that had been existing for decades, that my wife actually went to that preschool, and so did her brother Matthew.
Mm.
And Matthew has the same condition as James and Andrew. So they knew how to work with James when he got there.
Mhm.
Well, COVID put them out of business eventually.
Oh.
It
Mhm.
started their downhill decline because
Yes.
of attendance and
Right.
finances and increased costs.
Yeah.
So they had to close. So Matthias, our fourth child, was going there like his two older brothers did, but we had to change how he operated.
Mm.
Well, Andrew then didn't have that place that knew how to work with him.
Mm.
He was a little bit slower in when he started walking. So that was a different
Right.
development for him. He
Mhm.
doesn't talk. So it, just like with any kid, it's a different
Mhm.
circumstance, and so it's a different situation, even though some things are similar,
Right.
but the severity of his condition make it also different as well.
Mhm.
They just both have a temper.
And they don't get that from their dad probably, right?
I used to have a temper.
Yeah. Well, that's a really beautiful faith journey, and it's, clearly you've been through a lot that's challenged you, and it's beautiful to see how it's just deepened your faith more than sent you running away.
I have really tried to dig into a couple of places. Like, one, when things are tough, you gotta remember that God didn't spare them
Mhm.
from the furnace. He stood in the furnace with them.
Mm.
And so as long as you realize that you're standing in the fire with God,
Mhm.
then you can get through it because this too shall pass, right? Um, and so then when we're going through these things, we're being purified. And I may not realize that I need to go through some of this stuff until I get to the end of it. Even before I was on a faith journey, I did at least have this quote that I found on the internet from Isaiah, that my thoughts are above your thoughts, my ways are above your ways. So I had this in the back of my head, like there's something bigger happening. Now in the church, I realize that there's something bigger happening that I don't understand,
Mhm.
but I just have to be faithful to it, and that joy will come in the morning. I don't know how long the night's going to be,
Right.
but joy will come in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, in your case, the night was from when Ryan started 5th grade to
To now.
when Thomas gets out of middle school.
And that happens now. He's coming to the end. We only got a couple times
I
left.
know, there's only 4 to go,
I know.
including the party. It's so
It
sad.
is sad. And Matthias isn't ready for middle school yet. So
Yeah.
I appreciate both of you very much, but I will be taking a break from middle school ministry.
Well, what are you gonna say yes to now?
That's a great question that will be for another episode, months or
Okay.
years from now.
Well, it's been so awesome to know you for so long and to get to work with you in middle school, have you standing in the fire with me. So we appreciate you being here and we look forward to what's to come for you.
Yeah, we appreciate your service to the church and
Well, thank you. I
hearing your story.
I thank you for the opportunity to talk at the revival. It was one thing. I've given lots of public speaking, but
Mhm.
mostly it's on issues like property taxes
Sure.
and government operations.
Boring.
It is. It is very boring, but it's easy for me to talk about.
Yeah.
So talking about myself and opening up about some of those times where I was in the furnace was a little tough, but I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do that. And then
Yeah.
for the follow-up conversation here
Yeah.
and for everything you all do for the parish. So
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yeah, we're
Thank
glad
you.
you're here.
If you love Holy Banter, you can support us by opening your podcast app and hitting the 5-star button and leaving a quick review. It's easy and it helps us reach way more people. Thank you for listening.